Let's wait till it's good first. Okay, now it's good.
All right. Okay, so why don't you tell everybody out there who you are and a bit of what you do?
I'm basically a top player in every single Smash game, and I've pretty much dedicated my life to the entire Smash Bros. Series in all categories. Normally, I just do tournaments, but I'm trying to expand into Twitch entertainment, YouTube to teach players, websites. I'm pretty much trying to trying to expand Smash everywhere.
Sweet. So, what would you say is been some of your biggest hurdles to cross when starting up into Smash Melee, as it were, when you first came to this community?
Like 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to go to turns to prove myself because I thought I was really good, and I wanted to show everybody that I'm really good. But, of course, anybody can say it on the internet. It's about what you prove, not what you say. So I wanted to prove it and make a name for myself. And I also thought the game was extremely fun. I had a lot of enjoyment playing. So those are the two factors that drove me. It was never about money or anything. It was all about pride.
So you kind of had something to prove to yourself and to the world.
It was all about pride and fun. That's all it was. Nothing else.
Okay. So, who were some of the people that you looked up to when you started into the community before you really got your burn and kind of cemented yourself as a force in the Smash community?
All of the top players, basically. Like, I used to look up to Ken, Azin, PC Chris, and even local players who were rivals to me, like Zangizen and Korean DJ, and, well, Korean DJ wasn't until later. West was beating me, so anybody who could beat me, I obviously looked up to, because they were obviously very good. In fact, when I started, I wasn't even the best in my school. There was a guy who used Ganondorf who did short hop fairs and L canceled, and I didn't know what L canceling was back in this is like 2003, like 2004. But I was like, oh well, I never played a human opponent in my life, except for like my one friend. So I didn't know like how good that like L canceled fairs were, and I didn't even know that Falco's short hop laser was useful because I thought it wasn't, because technically it's not as fast as Falco's ground lasers. So I started as like the newbiest of noobs in terms of fighting because I had no experience. I had never fought a human, and that changed completely after going to tournaments, fighting human players on a regular basis. I learned it pretty quickly, and I never stopped improving because I just figured out why things work, why they don't work.
So, what was the character that you gravitated towards when you first started getting competitive in the game? I mean, you are Mew2King, so was Mewtwo a character that you started with first, or did you kind of float around with different characters?
I played every single character in the game. I didn't care about like tournaments. I started tournaments 2005 February. I got the game right when it came out. So I was just playing computers alone, event mode, one player mode, just messing around with items, random stages. I was just messing around all the time, just for fun. I just played every single character. But I'd only played against computers and just played alone, target tests, stuff like that, home run contests.
There wasn't like one character you liked a little bit more than others, or?
I liked Mewtwo the most, but that doesn't mean that's all I played. I played all the characters.
Okay.
I guess you could say my best character back in 2004 was probably like Dr. Mario.
Okay.
And then 2005, I was making a switch to Fox because I heard he was better. So then I was using Fox and Marth, and then a bit of Sheik. But I wasn't very good with Marth and Sheik back then, so I thought Fox was, the logical investment, so I kept investing in him. And I used Fox strictly for almost 2 years.
All right. So now you're known as being one of the most technical players of all time. You give out huge paragraphs on Smash Boards in terms of how to get better or how something works, etc. So how did you achieve this title? Like, where did you go from being like just another dude pressing buttons on a controller to being this encyclopedia of Smash knowledge?
Well, I just did a lot of tests alone. Like, in all of my games, I just Metroid Prime, Mario Kart, Old Smash, Melee, like so many games. I just did stat tests. I tried to find every single detail, and that was kind of a challenge to figure out because I didn't have any laptops or frame-by-frame stuff. I just had to use my own very tricky, smart methods. I made a Reddit thread on my Reddit AMA from 1 year ago. Near the top, I have a link that explains how I tested the frames for some of my tests. That should give you an idea of pretty much the hurdles I had to go through in order to get all this. But I would say most of that knowledge is pretty useless. I just wanted to make a nice, big, accurate list. Basically as a challenge to myself, just to see if I could do it, to make a perfect list for everything. So it was basically a huge challenge. I spent almost 2,000 hours of my life on this, between Melee and other games. But I'd say 75% of it was just all these different melee tests, and the other 25% was just testing everything in every other game, like F-Zero, Mario Kart, Halo, this, that, old games, just everything.
All right, so you're always trying to test yourself, and by doing that and wanting to get things put out in a nice order for you, that allowed you to gain a lot of knowledge in the game. Is that what you're saying?
Nah, I actually just wanted to be famous on the internet. I just made a bunch of lists that I wanted to be 100% accurate because I'm a perfectionist and I want everything to be perfect. So I'll spend 3 days just to get one thing exactly perfect if I have to. So I just wanted to be famous on the internet actually, and I wanted everyone to be like, "Wow, how did he create all that? Wow, he's so smart." Like I was a little full of myself, but what I did was actually ridiculously hard, and honestly, the stuff I did as a child is far harder than almost any turn I've won nowadays. I realize that shots fired at like almost every top player, but what I did as a child was some of the hardest things I've ever done in my life to get to the level of accuracy that I did.
Okay, so another question here is I'd like to ask, and I'm sure a lot of people want to know, when in your early competitive years, what was probably one of the greatest accomplishments you made in tournament? And I want to hear you reflect on that.
Beating every top player. Like I just went through them all.
No. Let's hear it's like a single moment, one single moment where you're like, yeah, I did it.
I guess the first time I felt like that was when I beat Wes, because he used to 2 and 3 stock me all the time, and then what happened is we played like a few more sets. It was like Fox Samus, so I used to come up at home. I'd be like, well, I can't up throw up air Samus because it's not enough hit stun. It never works. So I figured, what could I do? I tried forward throw, off the level, back throw. Then I realized I could down throw tech chase. I noticed Wes kept tech rolling, so I'd go for up smash. He'd spot dodge, so I'm like, okay, I have to prepare for that. So next time I down throw him, run the way he lands, he'd be at like 80 or 70. I would run up, charge up smash, he'd spot dodge, and I'd hit him. So like I just kept teaching myself how to fight a human opponent that's adapting as I adapt back as I'm playing. And since I had been very new to fighting experienced players, the adaptation game back and forth is very interesting, and it was very fun. And it was all for pride. Like almost nothing was recorded back then. We were talking 2005. Like almost nothing was recorded back then. So it's only recorded in my memory. But at the time it was like, wow, that was so amazing. And I think I beat him like 6-0 or 6-1 that tournament. Okay. And I was like, I was so proud of myself because that was the first time I beat somebody that I considered like top 10 in the world. Yeah.
So what would you say has been, like, in all the years you played Smash, one of your most humbling defeats?
Well, back in 2005, I used to just lose to various Peaches and Puffs that just up through rested and just down smash with Peach, but that's because I wasn't even good at L canceling back then. So like, and I wasn't used to the concept of like overshooting. So like, I would see Peach at like a position here, and I would attack that spot, right? Because that's what I would. That just makes sense, right? But then they'd wave dash back or something, and then I'd do like up the rest or down smash, and I was like, well, that sucks. I just took 50 damage, or I died because of that, and I didn't know. I didn't handle that.
If you can put it down to like a single match or a single event, in terms of like where you're like, holy, I cannot believe this just happened. Maybe put you on a little bit of tilt. If you could single it down to the one single event.
Really, it comes to mind. It's mostly 2005. Is basically the whole year of 2005 was just a big learning experience. 2006 and onwards, that didn't really happen. Like I never lost to anyone that's actually bad. It was mostly in the year 2005, like that whole like 10, 11 month period as I was playing, that I was like, well, I have to figure out what to do. I didn't understand the concept of overshooting, like predicting the opponents would run away and running past them. That's something a lot of top Fox players do today, for example. Like SFAT and Mango, if they think you retreat, sometimes they're just run past you instead of aiming at you as a mix-up. And I never thought of that back then. So,
okay, so moving on. Now, later on in your career, Brawl did come out, and that was probably, well, a lot of people don't like it. That's all I can say. I won't say the game's bad, but I'll just say a lot of people don't like Brawl.
No, it's clearly not as good as Melee.
But do you think that a big part of the community not accepting Brawl was because they kind of compared it to Melee instead of its own standalone Smash game?
There's only one character in that game that's qualified to be called extremely fun, and that's Meta Knight. He basically is a melee character. He has the Meta Knight Ditto is very deep. All his moves have different usage. The combo tree is very interesting. Like down tilt combos to dash attack only at like, let's say 40% or like a certain small range, and then at low percent it won't link into anything else. High percent they go too far away. Like there's all these little teeny intricacies, and it only really applies to Meta Knight. Everyone else is just chain grab with ice commerce, throw projectiles as Olimar, whoever, can't with projectiles. I don't find it very fun unless Meta Knight's involved. I understand I have a biased perspective, but a lot of other players that I've talked to actually have the same opinion. So I think, to me, Meta Knight was the savior of Brawl, and it's the other characters that weren't designed very good.
So what do you think they could have done to make it a better game?
More hits done, obviously, and more options. Smash 4 is basically an improved version of Brawl, except I think Meta Knight's more fun than anyone in Smash 4, but Smash 4 is clearly a better overall game, no question.
Yeah. All right. So what were some of the big events for you that you can reflect on up to now, where they kind of like resonate in your heart as like, if you could go back in time and live through that tournament again, you would?
FC Diamond really stands out, because that's when my Marth was basically at its peak. Back then, like I played PC Chris in the finals. Like this is like a 250-man tournament. It was like the biggest of its time. I played PC in the finals, and the first match, I almost 4-stocked him in like 65 seconds. And then you can just tell how the set went from there. It was a 6-0. And since nothing was recorded back then, like it's only in my memory. But back then, I didn't even play other games. I only played Melee, and I was only using Marth all weekend. And like up to that point, I just had a lot of fun with Marth. And I feel like back then, that Marth is even better than like most of my Marth today, except when I'm playing very good. Because I know a bit more now, but there's a lot of stuff I don't remember. Because back then, like it's all I did, you know. I was able to JB 5-stock players like a lot with Marth. I was just super in melee Marth mode. And it's too bad that those vids are gone, because it's just my word against theirs. People are just going to be like, people got better. And yeah, obviously people got better, but that doesn't mean I wasn't ridiculous back then. I just have no proof of it, because the videos got lost. Right. And that particular tournament I played amazing. Lots of turns back then I did. Like, Shootout, I couldn't beat him in 2006 at all. He destroyed my Fox every time, 3-0'd me at MLG multiple times. 2007 comes, 3 different occasions I 3-stock when tourney. Mostly with Marth. And then I've even did it with like Cat Falcon Sheik before. But almost, since so little was recorded back then, I have no proof of this. So it's just, you believe me or you don't. But back then, my Marth was like something else, and I wish I could play him to that level that I did back then. I'm close to it, but I'm a little sloppier. When back then I was like pretty solidly perfect at everything I wanted to execute. I would execute perfectly almost all the time.
Alright. Okay, let's transition now into Smash 4. So, what's some of the things that you've seen in Smash 4 that you think is going to step it up to a next level? I mean, it's not going to be a Melee, but there's probably not going to be another Melee. But that can make it stand, you know, the test of time, and have it basically be like a savior to the community, where people, they want to play this, but if they want to step it up to an even harder game, they can transition into Melee. So what are your thoughts on that?
Smash 4, it's obviously no Melee. I would say it's definitely like an improved version of Brawl, and it definitely has a lot of competitive potential. Although I will say, one thing that does bother me is the rage effect, but I can't say too much because almost all fighting games have something like that. Like Marvel vs. Capcom 3, X Factor, that's even worse.
That's probably the main reason a lot of people hate that game.
Basically, if you lose the first stock first, then you're quite disadvantaged, especially in a 2-stock match. And you basically get like, I think it's like 20% weaker between 0 to 150%. Your attacks are like 20% weaker, so if you don't get the first kill in a close first stock, then you have to hit him like for 30% more until you can kill him. Just like for no reason. It's just really, really bad. And competitively, the rage effect is really bad. Outside of that, it's basically improved Brawl in almost every way, outside of the removal of Metanite. So, it's basically improved Brawl, on average.
Alright, okay, I want to get a bit of a top 5 of all time here. So for Melee, who would you say is the top 5 players of all time? No particular order, let's just say top 5, no particular order.
Mango, Armada, me, PP, Hungrybox, Leffen.
That was 5. Last guy didn't count.
6. Close enough.
Okay, now let's go Brawl. Top 5 all time.
I think Zero's the best, then me, then Nairo, and then after that it's very debatable. But Ally really stood the test of time, so I got to put him up there. And then there's players like eSam and ADHD who also deserve mention. And then there's Larry from DHF on the West Coast with Tyrant right below him.
Okay, currently, at least in North America, who would you say is top 5 for Smash 4?
Smash 4? I feel like I could be top 5, but if I am, I'm like the bottom of the list. And that's even a stretch. Zero is probably number 1.
Okay.
Mr. R lives in Europe, but so he won't count. Zero's basically living in California, so I'm going to count him and say he's probably the best.
Okay.
And other contenders that are really good is there's Foe from Vegas. There's
J-Tails?
there's Nakat, Nairo, J-Tails, The Buzz, Anti, and Ally, which are all reside on East Coast and of course Canada. And
Yes.
I think eSam and Nick Riddle once again are good at Smash 4. Doesn't surprise me because it's basically the same Pikachu and the characters are very similar. So it's not surprising that eSam and Nick Riddle are once again good. Flup's he's Rosalina. Wizard's pretty good.
Is there any worldwide threats that you've seen, at least via stream, that you think will be serious contenders in upcoming tournaments that are, say, Evo, Apex, things like that?
There's too many people in Japan to name, and I don't really know the whole scene. And the game's so early, I feel like almost anyone can be a threat. I'm not really too concerned with that. I'm just concerned with upping my overall level. I'm not gonna act like I'm as good at that game as I am in Brawl, Melee, and Project M. I've put far less time into it, but I'm planning to change that. I've just been doing a lot of other things in business and just a lot of other things. But I'm planning to get more serious into Smash 4, starting now or starting the beginning of this week. Actually, I've been playing with Zero a few hours a day.
Okay.
I don't feel too qualified to answer all of this as accurately as I would like.
That's fine. I mean, it's gonna be a while before we have a definitive top 5 or definitive anything, right? The game's still less than 2 months old.
Yeah, there's a lot of its opinion anyway. For example, J-Tails beat me, but then Kitaro managed to beat J-Tails the next day in a Diddy Ditto. But then Kitaro lost to these random other people, so it's like there's too many of like these guys do well, but then player A B beats C,
Yeah.
but then C loses to random. So it's like you can make any kind of this guy is better than this guy, but worse than this guy, and however you want to argument it, because there's not enough. We simply don't have enough data to make good conclusions. You can make almost any argument right now because it's so early and not enough consistency.
Okay, so a lot of argument that people have right now is they absolutely hate Diddy and they're begging for nerfs, they're begging for this and begging for that. It's kind of, I think it's hilarious. I mean, whatever. As an avid FGC player, I think you just got to adapt. Diddy's clearly not unbeatable, but what are your thoughts on that? And some people are saying he's the Meta Knight of the game. What are your thoughts on this?
Me and Joe think that Sheik's the best and Diddy's second, but they're definitely the top 2 in the game. Right now, me and Joe think it's no question that they're the top 2 in the game, but we think Sheik's better if you play her good.
Really? A lot of people were saying that they thought that Sonic was at least top 2 in the game.
No. Sonic's just no, because I used to think that he was like a contender for the best, and now I think he might not even be top 10, and that's why I haven't been invested. Yeah, I don't really want to reveal his weaknesses too much, but he has because I want that is like a back pocket character, but
yeah,
but I do want to say that he has some severe weaknesses that I don't want to talk about.
Okay.
That make him potentially not top 10, but if he is, he's not on the level of Sheik and Diddy. I'll tell you that. But yeah, we think Sheik's the best, Diddy's second. We're not sure who's third. We're thinking maybe Pikachu. This is me and Zero's current opinion as of yesterday.
Okay, let's go into a theoretical top 5.
Diddy's easier.
Oh, sorry?
Diddy's easier to play because you're down through up air, but the thing is, once you get into the habit of just DIing back, the up air will never connect at kill percent. Unless you're like
Diddy?
Back. Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, some folks, especially one in particular locally, does not feel that Sheik would argue very vividly that Sheik is not the best in Smash 4. So can you give me a little bit of insight as to why you think Sheik is as the number 1 in Smash 4?
It's funny you mentioned that. I was about to post an article today at some point, today or tomorrow, about I wrote paragraphs about Sheik and why me and Zero think that she could be the best, explaining on some tricks that people don't even use on how to use her efficiently.
Okay, if you can get us a bit of a taste of that, and then we'll have them look on Smash for Friends. They want to get the whole thing.
Sure. All her moves are useful in different ways. Her edge guarding is amazing, and she's very safe. Her needles are safe when you charge them. Even if you shield it, there's not enough time to punish her. You can keep doing that consistently. Fair is completely safe, and her low percent combos are like 4 or 5 fairs guaranteed in like Sheik vs Diddy matchup, for example. And you can guess the edge guard a lot and just go off stage without any risk because you almost always recover. So she can take risks that aren't actually risks, which can reward her in a kill a lot of the time. And you don't. A lot of the time you hit her is because she makes a mistake. As players get better, the mistakes will become less. One of the reasons I don't use her is because I don't want it to mess up my melee. She's so different. Like narrative shield is nowhere near as useful. It usually goes above their head, and even when you do hit it, only does 8 damage instead of 14. And her fair is better horizontally, less of an overhead hit. The bear hitbox, it's easier to hit the 11% sweet spot, but the end of the move isn't as big. There's just too many things that if I get used to her, it's going to mess up my melee really bad. I don't think that's worth it right now. As Diddy is basically just as good, we think slightly worse, but basically just as good, I'd rather use Diddy-Kong. That's one of the same reasons I didn't use Marth at all after a few weeks in Brawl, but it messed up my melee Marth so much with the shorter sword and all these small differences that I didn't want to deal with that. It just kept messing me up. So I picked a completely unique character, Metanite, and found him. I was like, wow, this character is just so good, but it's not going to mess up my other characters because he's so unique. Not like switching between 2 different Marths or 2 different Sheiks. That is actually a reason that I don't use her.
I guess
but
you don't want it to mess up your game plan. You don't want to play a character one game that's so different than the other one, because then you start trying to do things differently. Kind of like going from, you know how on Smash 4 you got snaps onto onto ledges, and you go to other Smash games, and that's not even a thing that's there. There's no auto snap. In 64, there's definitely no auto snap. If you're nowhere near the corner, you don't touch it.
Yeah. Well, I basically explained my primary reason. That's like 80% of the reason.
Okay.
If I wasn't about that, I'd probably invest into Sheik a lot.
Who would you say is the top 5 characters in Smash 4 right now?
Sheik, Diddy. Then it's debatable, but I think Pikachu, Ness, and Ness is definitely up there. Like if you don't gimp him, he just destroys you. Like if you don't gimp Ness, he destroys you pretty much.
Mega Man, I just run away from him nonstop. Well, that's essentially how you're supposed to play Mega Man.
He's a contender for top 10. There's a lot of really good characters. Like I think Villager and Mega Man have a really good keep away game that's underrated. Mario is very good. I think Mario's top 10.
Fox
is top 10. Zero says he's like the border between high and he thinks he's the bottom of top tier.
Wow.
You could just keep doing everything combos to up tilt and up tilt combos to up air basically. You can do jab 1-2 over and over and over, then reverse up tilt to up air. Like there's so many things. Fox's only weakness is that he's light, and also he doesn't have a grab that kills. Those are his only two. Those are his 2 weaknesses. Rosamine is probably top 10 most likely.
Falcon? Falco?
I probably messed some characters, but I'm writing an article that's gonna post either today or tomorrow probably on Smash for Friends. That's gonna be about Sheik and some related stuff.
Okay. So when very persistent person would like to know about your match against Mr. E in the online tournament.
Dude, honestly, I do not come from a Wi-Fi background. I was the one pro. Like there was like narrow, ally, anti, so many people. We got good at Brawl. Zero, like almost every top player, like half of them, no, 80% of them maybe, that came from a Wi-Fi background. I was the one guy who refused to Wi-Fi. I can't even play on plasma TVs. So I'm gonna 100% blame that on lag, and I'm down to rematch in person without lag, and I'll most likely win.
So if you were to give a percentages, what percentage chance does Mr. E have against you in an offline event, say at Apex, in a hotel room?
Like 30. But that's only because I'm still so new to the game. I'm probably just gonna get gimmicked by stuff I don't know. Like he's probably gonna get me or something that I'm unaware of. I don't consider Marth a good character, and just because I lose to Marth online is not gonna change my opinion. Just like I'm not gonna think like Ganon or DK is good. I'm just gonna get gimmicked for a while until I get more experience. I'm not gonna base my opinions off of bias. That's stupid.
Another question here is, would you ever only pick a character based on matchups in the game?
Yeah, good enough with the character. I mean, play to win, man.
Yeah. So it's kind of like Sanford said, don't work for the money, make the money work for you. Pick a top tier.
Just figure, well, if I have tools at my disposal, why not use them? Like, for example, my Marth, I'm very good with Marth and Sheik and Fox, almost equally. My Marth and Sheik are about equal. So how do I decide which player to use? Okay, so what makes the most sense? Okay, so it makes sense to go Marth or Species on FD, either Fox or Marth on Pokemon Stadium, and Sheik on, like, Battlefield Dreamland. Like, you gotta pick a character that's good for the stage, you know? Like, I feel like that just makes a lot more sense. So, since I'm pretty equal with a lot of characters, if I'm capable, why shouldn't I try?
Okay, I got you. Okay, so someone's asking, what is more difficult for people to deal with in this situation? Post and Nerf, Rosalina, or Diddy now, and why?
Dude, I wanted to, back on the 3DS, I really wanted the main Rosalina, but it was because of her up-close ability. If you dash attack somebody and they're dumb enough to grab you, or not knowledgeable enough to not grab you, then you could hold down on the control stick and spam down on the C stick, and you would always do a Loomis Dare. And there's a player, a Rosalina player, that kept abusing this, named Afro in California, and we realized how ridiculous that was. And I was planning on maining Rosalina just so that whenever I got hit, I could make Luna downer them, jump off stage, and then gimp them.
Oh, that's right.
Planning on maining Rosalina and just abusing Luma's down air to get gimps and to punish them for hitting me. But then they changed that, and I was like, well, there goes her aggressive style. They made the Luma shot better, and they made her Luma respawn later. Encourages up close fighting. Don't get me wrong, I understood it was broken, but I don't like how her new tweaks make her a more defensive character, less encouraged to fight you up close. I think that's a little annoying.
Yeah.
And
so she's forced to come out.
I agree. She needed to be nerfed. I just don't like that they encouraged a more defensive style. That's more like someone like the Buzz would like that, rather than someone like me who I just want to get in your face, space moves, and then gimp you. I think that's more fun in every Smash game. Just go in, get the kill, just kill them, then they're dead. That's
drop the controller and retire.
No, I just want to get in their face and kill them. It's just fun. And they discouraged that style, so I was like, well, so much for Rosalina.
Alright, so what are your thoughts on the clone characters in this game? How do you feel about them?
Dr. Mario, I feel, is not as good as Mario because his up B doesn't go nearly as far. Up B had a shield, obviously is much better. But the fact that his recovery is worse, you can just hit him once, take a good guess, and he might die. Whereas Mario, you might have to take like 2 guesses to get the same thing because his up B goes further. And Mario's down throw doesn't send as far, which means his combo tree is much better. Also, Dr. Mario's up air sends horizontally instead of vertically, whereas Mario's up air sends vertically. So Mario's juggle combo game is just so much better. Also, Mario can sure hop double aerial. Now, I understand Doc's backer does 14 damage and Mario's only does like 11 or 12, but Mario just has so much more aerial mobility, and his combos just linked together so much better. I do think Doc is slightly better in Melee, but in Smash 4, it's pretty obvious to me that Mario is better in most matchups.
Okay, so, what's it, Mew2King? Are you going to enter Brawl singles or doubles at Apex? And if you did,
I will.
Would you prefer 2 stocks or 3 stocks?
3. 2 stocks is bad. Look, the only reason we would do 2 stocks is for time restraints. It's clearly worse. This is not even an opinion, it's just worse. The only reason you would ever do 2 stocks is if you're on a time restraint. Now, I can understand why people do that, but the only reason is is time issues. If you're running other events, it's always worse. The more stocks you do, the more skill-based it is, because you're fighting for longer. The less stocks, the more any random stuff can happen and upsets can happen that shouldn't happen normally.
Okay, the next one someone's asking here, I'm just going to go through a few of these just because I know you might be pressed for time, is someone wants to know about your match you had recently with Gatsu.
Huh? Which one? We've played so many times.
Okay, let's say about the recent one, the most recent.
Oh, I just lost 2 last hit games. I lost Fox vs Falcon last hit, one with DK, and then lost last hit with Mewtwo. But that was my first time using the new PM Mewtwo. I wasn't used to like the lag of his moves and his shortened tail and everything. Me and Emo Killer think the new Mewtwo is either low or mid tier rather than top tier. Also, Hax's Fox actually lost right afterwards in Fox vs Falcon. Me and Gatsu actually think, as far as I know, that Falcon beats Fox in this game because the knee kills so much sooner. And you can actually shield grab Fox a lot now. It would like trade for the shine. It happens way more. And a lot of tiny things just add up together, and Falcon is just really good. Like, I'm actually considering maining Falcon in the new PM. Like, right now, I already have a very good, like, Dr. Mario and Fox already, but Falcon is just so good in the new game, I'm really considering using him.
Mr. R's Captain Falcon, I think, in the last tournament.
I thought we were talking about Project. We were talking about Project M, right?
No, we're talking about. We're just talking about.
Sagatsu, so I'm assuming you're talking about Project M.
Yeah. I was referring to just the thought of Captain Falcon just always makes me think of Mr. R's Captain Falcon. I thought it was very impressive when I was watching.
Dude, I'm actually pretty good at Falcon. Like, me and Zero had 10 Falcon Dittos, and I won like 7 of them.
Were those matches recorded?
It's all on my stream from 2 different days. Won like 7 out of 10, and he's talking about how he's played Falcon like 1,000 games. I probably played Falcon like 20 games.
Wow. So what characters do you think have untapped potential and that haven't seen a lot of?
Dude, like, no one specifically, but basically half this cast. The game's still new. Everybody sucks. Everybody sucks because the game's still new. So people should stop. I understand jumping to conclusions right away, but don't act like what you say is a fact. Like, I'm gonna have an opinion on characters. Like, right now, I think Sheik's the best. I'm not gonna say you're stupid if you don't think that, because I'm open for, like, I'm keeping my mind open. Like, I might be wrong. There might be this. Maybe Ness and Mario seem to narrative Sheik's combos, whereas Diddy just gets stuck. Like, there's a lot of it's gonna be matchup based. I feel like people aren't as good as they think they are. They shouldn't think so conceitedly. Everybody should have an open mind, because the game of Smash, all of them, Melee the most, but all of the Smash games are very complex. There's so much you can do, and it's very undeveloped. It's not nearly as developed as you think it is in terms of maximizing the game. There's so many possible outcomes for any given situation that, like, I can change my opinion all the time based off tiny things that are even hard to explain and put down in words, but I understand them in my mind. So.
Okay, so another question here is, if you had to bet on Leffen and Chillin at Apex, who would you pick, and who are you cheering for?
Oh, I'm cheering for Chillin, but I think Leffen's obviously a better player right now. But yeah, Leffen's obviously the better player, but Chillin's a much cooler guy.
Mega Man.
I have no respect for Leffen as a person, but I do respect Leffen's Fox, and I think he's a skilled player. That doesn't mean in real life.
I'm not even gonna ask about that one, but
confusions on that.
Okay.
They're two separate things entirely.
Right. Who do you think's better Mega Man between Chillin and Zuko?
Oh, Zuko is way better. It's not even a contest. Chillin's nowhere near his level. At least not based off the last time I played them.
The one Mega Man that won a Japanese Wii U tournament.
Oh, he's the best Mega Man. I would say Zuko's probably second, and then I heard Seabrick plays too.
Yeah, I'm watching those. I'm watching all of them play, all of them, as much as humanly possible. It's too much not to watch it. Oh no, we're not gonna get into any Leffen drama. We're just gonna leave that alone.
I just don't respect a lot of the stuff he says, but I do respect his skill at the game.
Okay, we'll just leave it at that. Okay, so is that Zero in the background there, derping about?
He left me out. I wanted to scare you.
Ask that man if he's entering Hour of Apocalypse.
Yeah, he's gonna enter.
What's that?
The March 20th tournament that you're gonna win $1,000.
Maybe.
Okay, it's the March 20th tournament. You're gonna win $1,000.
Is it an interview?
Yes, I'm doing an interview.
Okay. I'll come chill.
Okay. All right. Well, so we're interviewing both of them. We can barely see them. If you want to tilt your camera a little bit towards them.
No, I'm sitting down.
All right.
That's better.
You know that most of Leffen's Twitter followers are fake, right? They're bots. No, it's the truth. He even admitted it.
Hey, since Zero's there, if you don't mind answering, so Mew2 gave his opinion on who he thought top 5 was in Smash 4 in terms of characters. I'm interested to hear yours as well.
Oh, rather not answer that question.
Sheik Diddy, Pikachu, Ness. You think that's the top 4, right? You change your mind every day. What do you think?
I don't want to answer.
He doesn't want to answer.
Okay, don't worry, it's okay. So, anyways, if anybody wants to find Mew2King online, they wanna learn from him, they wanna play with him, etc.
No.
What are they gonna do?
Wait, I just want to clear something up.
Okay.
I use Twitter. Just by habit. I use Facebook. So much more on Twitter. Just people contact me on Twitter. I understand I should follow up more, But I'm probably gonna answer on Facebook more. That's just how it is, most likely. Please continue.
Okay, so if anybody wants to get in contact with you, where do they go?
Probably Facebook. But I'm trying to grow my Twitch and YouTube as well.
Okay, so
I'm
why
gonna-
don't you spit out your Twitch and your YouTube?
Twitch.tv/Mew2King. Of course, just my regular tag. It's also at the bottom of this page on Invention Gamers Twitch. And my YouTube is the real Mew2King, which you can also find on my Twitch or at the bottom of this page. Also, I'm going to give a shout out to my sponsor, MVG League. So if everybody could take 5 seconds of their life to go to twitch.tv/MVG_League, which is the bottom of my Twitch and the bottom of yours. I'm doing a lot with them to help grow the community, put big pop bonuses and tournaments, entertain at me, Axe, top melee players, some top Smash 4 players are going to stream. Going to try to get a schedule that's to be determined. It would be 2015.
All right. Oh, sorry. There was one last question here, and I'm sure a lot of people would want to know: are you planning to come to Canada Cup here in the next few weeks? It's a $1,000 bonus spot.
That's January 9th, right?
January 9th. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Let me just check my calendar. No, I'm already going to commit.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. So we'll conclude the stream there. And thank you so much for joining up in this. Oh, last announcement, we are doing an online tournament March 28th to 29th, $1,000 bonus pot, split up between first, second, and third. So if you guys want to check that out, iPod's been going nuts in the stream, letting people know about it. So you guys do take care. Thank you so much, Mew2King and his assist Zero for being in the chat, for being on the stream. And possibly we'll talk to Zero maybe some other time. We'll see. Never know. You guys seem very busy. All right, you take care, and it was great talking to you.